Hey, this is C&D Channel. I'm Chris. This is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my predictions for Bellator 114, Shlemenko versus Ward, which happens on March 28th. Overall, I do like this card. The main event looks like it should be a lot of fun. The other main card fights range from like good fights to possible grinders on paper. I think Bessette versus Weichel should be good. Cooper versus Grove could be could be fun. Green versus Martinez. Stylistically, I think it'll be something more of a grinder. Prelims look pretty good. The final fight of MMA fight of Martinez is on this card. Wilcox versus Fischer is actually a pretty solid card and solid fight. And Ron Keslar versus Jordan Smith, also a very solid fight as well. Actually, Trevor Carlson versus Linton Vassell. Got two light heavyweight prospects. Pretty solid as well. Vassell is actually he's getting into that range of like him, Lee McGray, Brandon Halsey. You know, they're like these light heavyweight prospects that are like, dude, when are these guys getting in the tournament? So you got Bubba Jenkins on the card as well. So former UFC fighter Aaron Wilkinson. You know, so yeah, not a bad card actually. Yeah, let's get started. Okay, we got Alexander Storm Shlemenko versus Brennan Irish Bad Boy Ward. I think that's his nickname. Okay, Brennan Ward has a 9-1 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. He's only 25 years old on a 4-fight win streak. He's got some solid boxing, and he does have a wrestling background as well, and some heavy hands. He actually TKO'd Mikel Parlo in his last fight, and Mikel Parlo is pretty well known for having some pretty stout defense in the stand-up. He's a guy that doesn't get hit clean. I forgot what I think it was like Joe Camacho or Pacheco, I forgot. Where he I think he won by guillotine or something like that. And then he also fought Justin Torrey and got a finish on him as well. This is for the Bellator middleweight title. There was, I have seen him in bad positions, though. I believe in the Justin Torrey fight, he was actually mounted, got armbarred, just shooting in, and just gets armbarred right away, and taps in disbelief about what happened. So there's some things on the ground where he tends to seem to get reckless at times. And with Shlemenko, he has a 49-7 record, 29 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by submission. 29 years old on a 12-fight win streak. Trains out of Rust Fighters, along with Andrei Koreshkov and other notable fighters as well. He is the Bellator middleweight champion. He's got a really strong chin, strong cardio. This guy goes 5 rounds pretty regularly. Resilient. I mean, the guy just keeps coming at you. And if you hit him with hard shots, he keeps coming forward, always pushing forward. You know, his striking's unorthodox. He'll use a lot of spinning strikes. Well, one thing I really like seeing him do also is his body punches. Knocked out Mikel Falco and Doug the Rhino Marshall with body punches. You know, and his grappling is totally underrated. I mean, you know. The thing is, I believe I've seen him do like a triangle choke before from his back. He's getting back to his feet when he's taken down. And just an overall underrated grappler. So, you know, even if they'll fight, you know, I don't know how the fight's what's gonna happen standing, but if it hits the ground, you know, I definitely gotta favor Shlemenko. In the stand-up, you gotta favor Shlemenko on variety. You know, Brennan Ward, mainly a boxer, you know. That's the thing with him. Shlemenko will use a lot of different strikes, knees as well, spinning strikes, of course. Likes his spinning back fist, you know, body punches. It's a lot more variety with Alexander Shlemenko. Also, when you look at the records, I mean, 9-1 versus 49-7. I mean, I gotta go with Shlemenko to win this one. One thing is that I will say, I read an interview that hinted that he's kind of looking at this point as another fight. And you know, he's talking about like signing with the UFC, you know, because like as far as his challenges go in middleweight, I mean, you're gonna get a lot of Brennan Wards, you know, solid prospects, young, hungry, but generally very inexperienced. You know, the guys that could become really good fighters, but you know, Shlemenko is definitely more or less a finished product. And he's going to fight a lot of guys without that much experience that are not finished products. That may factor in this fight with his motivation. Otherwise, I got to go with Alexander Shlemenko to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, Will Martinez fights Desmond Green. Well, Will Martinez got the upset win over Goichi Yamauchi in his last fight. He has a 9-2 record with 1 draw. 3 wins by KO TKO, 5 wins by sub. He has also 2 losses by submission. 33 years old on an 8-5 win streak. What I saw from him, you know, he was a good wrestler. His Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, especially his defense, was really good. Sam was a bit average, you know. There wasn't anything special, particularly special about his stand-up. One thing about him, though, he was always pushing forward. And this is also a featherweight tournament semifinal fight. Desmond Green coming off the win over Mike Richmond. 10-2 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 1 win by sub. 24 years old on a 2-fight win streak, training out of Team Bomb Squad. Other guys that train out of there would be like Anthony Leon. And John Jones used to train there before Jackson's. He's a good wrestler. His striking's good in the sense that he's a good, I want to say kind of like a point fighter, you know. If you watch the Richmond fight, it kind of showed, you know. He uses range really well, moves, but you don't get the impression that he's striking to finish, per se. He's kind of striking to get points. He's getting better at it, though, you know. He beat Henry Martinez in the regional scene. I think it's Henry Martinez. And then he also got a TKO win over another fighter. So he's getting better about finishing with strikes in the stand-up as of late. But if he wants the Richmond fight, you know, it kind of goes to show his style. And I gotta go with Des Green to win this one. Like I said, good wrestler. Good, and even though I kind of criticize the striking, it's very effective. So he is an effective striker. You know, Martinez, you know, definitely got the upset. Fought a good fight. A very blue-collared, workman-like fight, though, against Goichi Yamauchi. I'll go with Desmond Green to win this one. Next fight is that, Matt Bessette fights Daniel Weichel. Well, Bessette has a 13-4 record, 2 wins by KO TKO, 4 wins by sub, 29 years old on a 5-fight win streak. You know, when he beat Diego Nunes in his last fight, it's arguable whether he should have got the nod or not. Otherwise, I mean, he showed some good stand-up there, but he was still a bit reckless and sloppy. His defense isn't like that great. He showed a pretty good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game, though, as well, off his back. And I think the biggest takeaway, especially in the Diego Nunes fight, is just his overall gameness and heart, you know? That was the thing with him. Daniel Weichel, though, 32-8 record, 5 wins by KO TKO, 20 wins by sub. He also has 4 losses by KO TKO, 3 losses by submission, and he's 29 years old on a 4-fight win streak. He's got some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and some good stand-up. This is a featherweight tournament semifinal. I didn't get to see a lot. I saw the highlights of the Scott Cleave fight, but I managed to check out some of his M1 fights. And the guy beat Froyo Hospiliaev, you know. His stand-up, what I noticed a lot, he's generally very basic about it, you know. It looks like he has a solid 1-2. And he uses it a lot, actually. He can get guys to the ground, and then, you know, he'll fish for the subs. So, you know, very solid fighter, very experienced fighter as well. And I gotta go with the experience of Daniel Weichel to win this one. Okay, next fight after that, we got Brett Fudushin Cooper versus Kendall Grove. Well, Grove has a 19-13 record with 1 no contest, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 9 wins by sub. He also has 5 losses by KO or TKO, 3 losses by submission. He's 31 years old. He's 6'6" on a 2-fight win streak. He does have some really good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's strong off his back. He'll go for triangles and arm bars. Even against, I think it was against like Almeida, you know. He was fishing for like stuff off his back. I mean, he has really long legs and solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. His Muay Thai is good. He's always looking for knees and whatnot when he's up close. Doesn't always fight the range game very well, though. But 2 things that work against him, his chin is not that great, and his takedown defense. I mean, he gets taken down by a good majority of his opposition. Brett Cooper, 19-9 record, 12 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by KO or TKO. He's 26 years old. As opposed to Kendall's 6'6" frame, Cooper is 6'0". He's on a 2-fight losing streak, losing to Doug Marshall and Shlemenko, if I'm not mistaken. Trains out of Rain. He's a good wrestler, you know, likes to pin guys up against a cage and force the takedowns. He's actually shown a good, despite having 3 losses by KO or TKO, he has actually shown a good chin. He usually gets knocked out by guys, like Marshall's a guy that'll knock anyone out, you know. Stand-up's solid, but not spectacular. He's got good cardio as well. He's a guy that's like very workmanlike, you know. He's a guy that he's pushing forward a lot, bully against the cage, really force takedowns and whatnot. This one's kind of tough to call. Kendall Grove actually had a really good fight against, I believe it's Joe Vedipo in his last fight. Really fun fight there. I think Kendall Grove's probably got the advantage in the stand-up. On the ground, it'd be really interesting. Because Kendall Grove's really good off his back. Cooper, though, I think Cooper will be able to get takedowns on Grove. I wonder if he'll... I can see him kind of bully his way inside and probably force takedowns and whatnot. Avoid the submissions and get the win. I am going to go with Brett Cooper to win this one. So it's tough to call, though. Kendall Grove's always that guy. He'll lose against... I forgot if he beat... I think he lost against Jay Silva. I'm not too sure. And I think he had a close fight with like Brunson. You know, these days, you know, he's kind of on and off. You know. Okay, on to the prelims. We got Edson Berto fighting Rad Martinez. Well, Berto has a 17-11 record with 1 draw, 4 wins by KO or TKO, 10 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by KO or TKO. He's 30 years old. He's got some solid Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. He beat is it Bruno Carvalho in his last fight? But he has really strong leg locks. A lot of his submission wins are by some sort of like leg lock. Rad Martinez, 14-3 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by decision. He's 27 years old, training out of Victory MMA, which is like, I believe it's Dean Lister's gym in San Diego. I forgot what other notable guys train out of there. There's other guys that train out of Victory MMA. I can't recall. Oh yeah, actually on this card, Jordan Smith. He trains out of Victory MMA. Yeah. So, geez, where was I? You know, with Rad Martinez, you know, he has some good wrestling. His stand-up is improving. Kind of sucks as his last fight. You know, he's a very inspirational story. You know, takes care of his dad and whatnot. I think he can probably beat Berto on the feet. Hopefully, he'll avoid leg locks when it hits the ground. And submission attempts from Berto when it hits the ground. So I'll go with Rad Martinez to win this one. Next fight that, Jason Fischer fights Justin Wilcox. Jason Fischer has a 6-2 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 4 wins by sub. He trains out of MASH Fight Team. Other guy that trains out of there that's notable is Darren Cruikshank. He is a finisher. He has some good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Stand up, kind of average, you know. The fights I remember him are in his losing efforts against David Rickles. That's the thing. Yeah, I think the last fight Last time he fought David Rickles was that rematch, and he lost that one. Justin Wilcox, 13-6 record with 1 no contest, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 2 wins by sub. He also has 3 losses by KO or TKO and 2 losses by submission. He's 35 years old, training out of AKA. I believe this is going to be at 155. I'm not 100% sure, but because I know Wilcox was in that featherweight tournament. Wilcox he's huge. He's a huge guy. Really strong. He's got some strong wrestling. His stand-up is improving. He's got some really good top control. Stand-up defense definitely needs some work. Akop Stepanyan was just leg kicking him to death, and actually hitting his face pretty clean too. Of course, Patricio put him out. He also lost to in Strikeforce. He got knocked out in like 14 seconds. Totally forgot the name of the guy who did that. Good, But nonetheless, I think I'll go Justin Wilcox to win this one. Like I said, strong wrestler, good enough stand up. He should win this one. Next fight after that, Ron Keslar fights Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith has an 18-6 record with 1 draw, 7 wins by KO or TKO, 8 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. 29 years old, training out of Victory MMA. Yeah, just good stand-up, good good grappling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills for him. Ron Keslar, 11-5 record, 1 win by TKO, 5 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. 33 years old, training out of AKA. Most recently losing by Rick Hahn. Also got an upset win over War Machine, and rear naked choked him. He is a good wrestler. One thing that's really notable about Ron Keslar is his back control. Even against Rick Hahn, I believe he mounted, and I think he may have even taken the back, or he took the back of Rick Hahn in the first round. Stand-up's kind of average at best, but it's mainly his wrestling and his back control and overall control that's notable about Ron Keslar. I'll go with Ron Keslar to win this one. I think he might be able to take the fight to the ground, use his control and whatnot to get the win here. Next fight is that Trevor Carlson fights Linton Vassell. Carlson has a 7-1 record, 3 wins by KO or TKO, 1 submission win by strikes. Linton Vassell has a 12-3 record with 1 no contest, 5 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO. He's 30 years old on a 7-fight win streak. I'll go with Linton Vassell to win this one. Next fight is that Mike Estus fights Gavin Sterritt. Sterritt has a 5-1 record with 1 win by TKO, 3 wins by sub, and he's on a 5-fight win streak. His only loss is his first pro MMA bout. Mike Estus has a 6-1 record, 5 wins by submission. He also has 1 submission win by strikes. He also has his only loss is by submission. He is a finisher. He's never been to decision as a pro, and as a pro, he's never been past the 2nd round. He's got some good ground skills. I'll go with Mike Estus to win this one. Next fight is that Michael Arrant fights Aaron Wilkinson. Michael Arrant has a 14-8 record, 6 wins by KO or TKO, 5 wins by sub. He has 3 losses by KO or TKO and 2 losses by submission on a 7-fight win streak. Aaron Wilkinson, I think he fought once in the UFC. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. He fought once in the UFC against Cody McKenzie, and he got McKenzie teamed. He has an 11-6 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 7 wins by sub. He also has 4 losses by submission. I don't know who's going to win this one. I'm more familiar with Aaron Wilkinson, so I'll go with Wilkinson to win this one. And finally, Bubba Jenkins fights Sean Powers. Sean Powers has an 8-4 record, 1 win by TKO, 7 wins by sub. He also has 2 losses by KO or TKO and 2 losses by sub. Trains out of Pit Elevated, along the likes of like Ramsey Nijam, Court McGee, Steven Seiler. Guy who beat Fitch, I forgot his name. Jeez, how did I forget that guy's name? Totally forgot his name. But he is a finisher. He's never been to decision. Bubba Jenkins, 5-1 record, 2 wins by KO or TKO, 3 wins by sub. He also has 1 loss by TKO. He is a finisher. He's never been to decision. He's 26 years old, training out of ATT. He's a strong wrestler. You know, he's one of those like crazy accolade wrestlers with good ground and pound. His cardio, though, has been a weakness of his. He's really reckless. That's the thing. This is a guy that'll like dive into guillotines and stuff. You know, he's just he's a bit reckless, but nonetheless still very good prospect. I'll go with Bubba Jenkins to win this one. Okay, back onto the main to recap on the main card. I have Shlemenko over Ward, Green beating Martinez, Daniel Weichel beating Matt Bessette, and Brett Cooper over Kendall Grove. On the prelims, I have Rad Martinez over Edson Berto, Justin Wilcox beating Jason Fischer, Ron Keslar beating Jordan Smith, Linton Vassell over Trevor Carlson, Mike Estus over Gavin Sterritt, Aaron Wilkinson beating Michael Arrant, and Bubba Jenkins beating Sean Powers. So that's it for my predictions for Bellator 114. If you have any comments, just leave them below. That's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.